Let's talk about, we're here at the MGMA Alabama meeting in Destin, Florida. Let's talk about what are some of the questions that are coming up in circulation down in the exhibit area. I mean, there's a lot of conversations going on about EMR, a lot of conversations going on about technology, e-prescribing, all those areas. What are you hearing?
I think the biggest thing that I seem to see consistently being discussed about EMR right now is people's concern over the standards that the government's going to adopt. You know, in other words, what they're wanting to make absolutely certain of is that they go with someone who is going to be following the certification path to be sure that they're going to be able to meet all the requirements.
Right.
So there's a lot of discussion about that, and a lot of little tossing around that goes around the vendors saying, well, this one isn't and that one is, and we are and they're not, and all that kind of stuff. So a little bit of that going on, but certainly people are, I've never seen a period of time, this is my probably 16th MGMA state meeting here, and I've never seen the level of activity and discussion going on about EMR. It's just, it is pervading the entire exhibit area. I mean, the poor folks in the lab business and all this other stuff and collections kind of having a hard time getting anybody's attention because everybody wants to talk about EMR. So it's there's no question it is the dominant topic. The stimulus bill has created, enormous interest, and I think an adoption of the philosophy of, well, we got to do it. There's no more putting it off. I mean, we might as well do it now. They're willing to reimburse us a little if we do, so why not? Let's move forward. I think a lot of discussion about the standards and what they're going to do. Is CCHIT going to be completely the standard or not? A lot of that kind of stuff is what people are concerned about.
Let's talk about the top 3 pitfalls that we can avoid. If you had to pick 3 areas to be mindful of or watchful of in going forward with the EMR, what would you say the top 3 hit list would be?
I think one of the first things, and this kind of gets to the software selection piece of it, but I think it is very critical to make sure that the vendor you're looking at has got depth of content in your specialty. I mean, most doctors and most practices just simply don't want to build it themselves. So in other words, if you're an OB-GYN practice, you want to look for a vendor who's got a lot of depth of content and participates in ACOG, which is their organization of those folks. So I would say number 1 is experience and depth of content in your specialty. So, it doesn't matter if somebody's got the greatest solution in the world, but they don't have any content for your specialty.
Or they may have the largest install base, period, nationwide, but take a closer look at, well, how many of those docs are
doing what I do, you know what I mean? And so I think from the software selection standpoint, that's the number 1 thing that you have to look at, is make sure they're strong in your particular type practice. I think the second largest pitfall, back to something we talked about earlier though, is to make sure that your physicians are committed. Not only are they committed to spend the money, but that's sometimes kind of easier than getting them to commit to the training and changing their workflows and modifying what they do in order to take advantage of it.
Writing the check may be a little easier than actually going through the training and living through the change process and listening to the staff complain a little bit.
Yeah.